Okay guys, it's Chad. How's it going? No, it's been a long time since I've uploaded a video. It's you can blame my Arabic teacher for that, for keeping me as busy as she possibly fucking could. Right now, I'm just going to go through what I've been doing recently, which is the reason that, now there's always a mess in my house, but I'm always working on something. Most currently, what I'm working on is an Iron Man costume, which this is my duct tape dummy that doesn't have Iron Man on him right now, because all the pieces are hanging up over there drying in one form or the other. These are all tools that I use, with the exception of the socks and Arabic keyboard and cowboy hat, in order to make my Iron Man costume. Everything's scattered. I don't keep a neat workshop. Anyway, let's go over here and I can show off some of these parts. Here's the chest piece, and I wish that light wasn't burnt out, because this wouldn't be so dark. Chest piece is kind of dark right now as it is, because I can't find a good color red. Everything that I find is either too bright or too dark. If it's too bright, the costume looks cartoony. If it's too dark, then it just doesn't look right. Show you an example here. Here is my Iron Man bicep. One of them. The left bicep. With the shoulder thing, or not shoulder, elbow. And here's some of the products that I use. A 2-part plastic mix called Smoothcast 321. Anyway, I'll probably make a video of me making the thighs, because I have most of the parts made, except for the legs. Let's see, balance that up on that for 1 minute. There's the bicep, right there. And the forearm, just to, okay, go over this real briefly, show you the stages. Give me a second. Alright, here's one of the shoulder bells. I know how I can shed some light on this situation. Alright, here's one of the shoulder bells. Basically, I make it out of EVA foam, the anti-fatigue mats that you would find in a workshop. Then I go over it, and with I use a white glue, like a craft glue, and I paint over top of it to sink into the foam and seal it. So that way I can cover it with that Smoothcast 321 plastic. I go over the whole thing with it. I put 3 coats on. Then I give it a light sanding to get rid of high edges. Then I go over the top of it with a Bondo and sand that out and try to add a little bit more detail into it. Right now this is just the first coat of Bondo. This is just to smooth out the edges a little bit. I'm going to have to go over it a couple more times to get everything perfectly smooth. And then I prime and paint it. But here we've got one piece that's pretty much all the way done. It's the pelvis. So, I mean, and yes, it does fit my fat ass. I have the ab piece, which for the purpose of the plastic and, well, this really isn't the ab piece, this is more the side and back area, and I have pieces of foam glued up here in the front to keep the round shape while I was coating it in plastic and Bondo. And I have this all primed up, and I painted the gold on first. But that goes around here, and then there's the ab plate that goes in the front, and I messed up the first ab plate, so I gotta redo that. Anyway, that will just slide on there like that. And I know I was gonna build the thing with the rocket in here, but after seeing this and seeing it on my arm, there's no way that I'd be able to get that to fit. So anyway, you don't need to see me pull on the rest of that. Here's my beautiful faceplate. Love that. The rest of the helmet. Kinky, right? Here's how I get it on. This actually goes in the back, and I've got magnets. I actually made that just out of plastic. And I've got magnets in here that once I put a little hinge on here, if you can see this, it's going to fit just like that, and the magnets are going to connect right there underneath that circle for the ears. And I got to figure out a way to attach that jawline. I was originally going to make it to where the servos would move the jaw up and down with the faceplate moving up and down, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to do that. I might just have to solid connect it. Let me get this off. It would be a lot easier if I didn't have a bunch of shit in my pockets. Metaphorical shit, not literal shit. Let's see, let's go through a couple of the cooler things that I'm doing. This is the unibeam that I built for the center of the chest. I've got this wired into a switch with a charger attached to a rechargeable battery. So it looks like this, and that's going to be in the center of the costume because you don't ever see, which is cool because the charger is built right there into the wall and I can just hook it up and reuse it over and over again. Anyway, you don't ever see the detail in Tony Stark's arc, so it's pointless to build one and then set it inside the costume. Here's a silicone mold that I made for the Mark I arc. Here's one for his triangle arc. There's a silicone mold just for the little earpieces. This is all clear plastic that I would obviously sand down and paint, but the hardest thing to detail in this helmet are these little earpieces. So what I was trying to do is just make a mold, and if I do end up making another helmet, instead of trying to sand that out, I'm just going to glue those pieces into place, sand it separately and glue it into place. So anytime I have like leftover plastic from something else that I'm doing, I pour it into one of these three molds, just cause. Let's see, here's one of the more impressive pieces of wiring that I've done, and you probably won't be able to see too much of this because what I did was, after I had wired all that up in there with all the LEDs, resistors, anodes and diodes, I sprayed it with a product called Plasti-Dip, which is a spray on liquidized rubber. And what that's going to do is that's going to prevent any anode from connecting with its opposing diode, shorting out the system and making it not work. So this works. Let me take that battery pack's empty. Follow me over here. This is going to be for my Mark 6 Ark because this costume gets really hot and I'm going to want to take it off. If I'm out, dancing in it or some shit. Set that up. Alright. Maybe a little more like that. Okay. Let me find my power source that I made. Give me 1 second. I can never find anything here. So I'm always just throwing shit that I don't need over to this side of the couch. I just had it 2 seconds ago. Oh, there it is. Further than I thought. Alrighty. Anyway. This is actually a battery. That I had wired in to these long wires with alligator clips on the end, and I use this for testing electronics to make sure that I had wired it correctly. And there we go with that. Now this is going to be for the Mark 6 Ark reactor. Which I'm currently making for me to wear underneath the costume for whenever I take the chest piece off. And this is going to be the face of it. Now what I'm doing here is there's liquid plastic in here. I made the detail piece first, and it's clear plastic. You can just barely see it through here. And whenever you look at the movie, it's got the plastic has this like almost, I don't want to call it a stained glass effect, but it has this rippling through glass, and I was trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to pull that off. And what I finally came up with doing is I took tinfoil and crinkled it up into a ball, and then spread it back out, and then spread it flat, and then you get all that little, I don't know if you can see it on here, like you get that crimpled look to it. So whenever this liquid plastic on the inside here dries, what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to take that tinfoil off. I'll be able to pop out this piece here and clean it up and paint it with the silver, and clean up this outer ring here. And that outer ring, actually, I have a cap here from an airsoft BB container of 5,000 BBs, and this thing actually fits perfectly into there. I don't want to do it because I don't want to fuck up this tinfoil. This plastic is still drying right now. It's not real runny, but it's got the consistency of about maple syrup right now, so I really don't want to just do too much with it that's going to fuck it up. Well, a thick maple syrup. When you do two-part liquid plastic, it kind of, it's real runny at first, real liquidy, and then it starts to gel up, and then finally harden. And it takes about, depending on what type of plastic you get, this is what type of two-part plastic mix you get. You can get what they call rotocast plastic, which is whenever you have a mold, you keep on flipping it. Like, if it's a three-dimensional mold, you can keep on flipping it around and around and around and around, and what that does is, as it starts to gel and harden, as you keep turning the mold, it hardens into the shape of the mold with a hollow center in it. And that usually hardens within like 15 minutes, because they don't want people, constantly turning that. This is not a rotocast plastic. This takes a while to harden. That actually is from it's encasing plastic, and that takes about 24 hours to fully harden. I poured that probably about 6 hours ago, and it's now just starting to gel. So I'll be able to demold that, and hopefully by tomorrow. But yeah, I just wanted to show a little video of what I'm up to. I've learned a lot of really cool things, Joe. I saw your video on there recently. It's hard for me to pin down exactly, what was the coolest. I mean, I've learned everything from replica prop building to different things in electronics. The things that you guys probably wouldn't think is cool, but I think is awesome. How servos work, how the pickaxe program works. That's pretty cool. I learned a ton of Arabic, and I hate it. I really hate it. I learned that the only place open at 5:30 in the morning. I know it's 5:58 right now in the morning, but I just came back from a cigarette and McDonald's run. The only place open is McDonald's. If you want to get a quick bite to eat early in the morning. I shouldn't say I learned it, I knew that, but I learned that the only competent person working on their morning crew is the Chinese lady that doesn't speak English. I know that we were trying to keep these videos short. I apologize for that. I know this was running pretty long, but cut me a break. I haven't uploaded anything in a while, so boo to you. Just kidding. I'm just rambling. It's early in the morning. I haven't fucking seen anybody, and I'm fucking tired. So I'm probably going to clear off a place to sleep, because I sleep on my couch. That's one thing about me. I hate beds. I like sleeping on couches. Something that I've liked since my childhood. I don't know why. If I lay down in a bed, I toss, I turn, I can't sleep. Same thing's true with the couch. That and my big screen TV's out here. Look at that thing. Mammoth. I love it. It's ancient, but it's mammoth. I love it. This is part of all these pages. Steve Talks. Yep. I am writing a script that I am going to make a video with. So, I am working on this. That's all from me. All for now. Good night.